Hey guys, it's Miley here, and welcome to my very first Sims 4 speed build. I actually started recording this after I had started building already, and if you can see, I'd kind of just started building the front facade of the house, so I could get an idea of what I wanted to what I wanted it to look like. And there's actually a lot of pauses in this video where I was changing my YouTube channel, but I can't remember exactly where I was doing that, so I didn't cut it out because when you speed it up, it only ends up being 3 seconds. But anyway, I'd already built the front facade of this house, and I was actually looking at a picture I found online, and I just Googled mid-century modern exterior, and I found a picture that I was kind of basing it off of. So I just created what I wanted the front to look like first, and then I went ahead and extended it back. And when I actually started looking at the inside and deciding where I wanted to put walls and stuff, it actually started looking huge, which you'll see in a minute. But right now I'm just putting a baseboard around the bottom because the picture that I was going off of actually had a really cool black outline around most of the build. And right there you can see I'm just creating a black back porch. So I started making sure that it had all the black accents because I thought it looked really cool. And I actually think after this that I want to build a bowling alley because the sim that I made is very 70s. I imagine he lives in the 70s, the sim I made to live in this house. And I kind of want to play as him as my current household for a little bit and make him live in the 70s and make him go bowling and have poker nights with his friends and do all that kind of stuff. Have potluck dinners and stuff. So the inside of this house is decorated a lot with the bowling night stuff pack because it had a lot of those really cool 70s looking items in it, and it is a lot of the bowling night and a lot of the base game, and I don't think I used too much from any other pack. I think I mostly stick to those two. Oh, and the sim I created for this actually has two Pomeranians named Fidget and Squee, and so there is stuff from pets in this build too. But you can see right now I'm just working on the layout. And normally when I do the layout of a house, I do it 7 times before I get it exactly how I want it. But the layout of this house actually stays the same throughout most of the build. I think I only changed a few walls here and there. But when I started looking over here, I realized that there was a lot of room for living room space. And since I wanted this to be an older build, a more mid-century build, and not a very modern build, I decided that I wanted to actually divide up the rooms with walls. And in between the kitchen and living room, you can see I actually put in a half wall because I feel in a lot of homes built in the 70s that I've been into personally, they've had that half wall feature. So I go ahead and leave it in there. Right now you can see that I'm adding doors, and I'm not one of those people who cares a lot about door placement, and I hear people talk about it, and I guess in real life it matters because it matters which way the doors open, but in The Sims the doors don't open a certain way, you know what I mean? You don't notice, even if they open, they'll just open through stuff. So I kind of just plop doors down wherever I can and forget about it. I don't really think about it. Right now I'm looking for those saucer lights, and I just scale them down a few times so that they're not huge and in the way when you're trying to play. Scale them down a few times and I light up the whole house. When I start furnishing, I'll replace some of the saucer lights with themed lighting, but it's honestly so much easier to build with a lit house. I don't see how people can light as they go because I can't see what I'm working with if I do that. Right now you can see I'm just adding a really nice wooden parquet floor, and I feel that was really big for the style of that time. I watch HGTV a lot, and when you're watching Property Brothers or a show like that, the first thing you see always is the parquet flooring, and they talk about it a whole lot. And they're always we're gonna pull up this parquet flooring and replace it with good hardwood, and I kind of love it. I love it a little bit. Another thing with this house is there's a lot of green in this house, and it's because I used that green front door, and then I just decided in my head that the sim that lived here really liked the color green. And in the screenshots, you'll actually see pictures of him. I think his name is Jordan or something like that. And I decided that he really likes the color green. So throughout this house, there are a lot of green accents and green accent walls and green chairs. And it's a little bit overdone, but I feel a lot of houses from this time period do kind of have a color scheme, if you know what I mean. I just think about the bathrooms that have the tiles on the floor that match the tiles on the wall that match the tiles in the bathtub. And that's kind of what I think of when I think of houses built in the 70s that I've personally seen. And right now you can see I'm just trying to add some lights above the bar. Those were actually way too long. so I have to do these. Does anyone else have trouble like adjusting the lights over stuff? If I can't see the like little box on the ground, I have a lot of trouble getting lights where I want them to go. Like I can't tell what position they need to be in, and really, a lot of times it's really frustrating when you're trying to put a light over like a kitchen table or something. Right here, there's another like awkwardly long pause because I was finding another YouTube video to watch, which you'll see is like a common theme because I like to watch YouTube while I build. It kind of keeps my mind focused. Today I was actually watching Simlicy, and that's who kind of inspired me to build this house because she built a mid-century modern build that was so pretty, and she built it for this like grandma sim who was going to be in her Not So Berry challenge, and I really thought that it was just like beautiful. Like I loved what she did. So I paused the video where it was and started building because I didn't want to get any more inspiration from her. That way I wouldn't be like copying her ideas. So I paused it, went and ate dinner so I wouldn't like remember, and then came back and used that for inspiration too. And her builds are just beautiful. My builds are definitely not beautiful yet. I'm working on it. One thing that I do that I accidentally do all of the time is I like to go through and set all of my walls to white just so they're not like that ugly like standard wallpaper. And then I always like intend to go back and pick a different walling to put in there. And I always accidentally leave most of the walls being white. And I do this in this build too. And I'm really sorry if you don't like the stark white walls, but you can always go through and change it. Not a big deal. Right now, I'm just looking through the clutter objects because I really wanted that like table to be like a faux bar. Like I wanted those three wine glasses or those three wine bottles and the wooden thing to like sit on top of it, and I was gonna do like that kind of thing and make it kind of like a faux bar because I love the look of it, but I don't really think it makes sense in the kitchen. And it took me forever, and I actually don't think I ever found those like three wine glasses that I was looking for. And then I thought I could put a microwave on it, and for some reason, like those objects, even when you raise them up, can't sit on other counter spaces. And that really bothers me because like some people have their microwaves on shelves or like on things like that. You're like your microwave doesn't have to go on a kitchen counter. Like that's kind of limiting. Like people have microwaves in their rooms and stuff. Like what if you were building like a small like college dorm room? Right there, I was realizing that when I put like the little, like that tiny fence that kind of looks like four trim down to split up the different kinds of floorings, that it actually deleted the walls there, so I had to go replace them. And if you saw what I just did, I was putting like this weird like green ombre wall in. I don't know, it's kind of ugly, but also it's kind of like taking a risk. So I decided to leave it in the end. I think it kind of looks cool. It adds a pop of color to the house, and I definitely think the sim that lives here would do that. Right now, I'm making like a cool sectional couch, and I tried to like put those two couches together from bowling stuff and do like something in the middle so because you can see the glitching right there if you just watch that corner. But I try to like put a coffee table in there, and it doesn't look bad, but in the end, the layout I go with, it just doesn't work very well. I didn't like how you could see. Ooh, excuse me. I didn't like how you could see the legs of the coffee table going for the bottom. And at the end, I was trying to put these chairs in, and the chairs just didn't really fit. And I decided to just leave it. Um, Daylight savings time, okay? So during daylight savings time, okay, so the window in my room faces east, so when the sun rises in the morning, it shines in my room really bright, and that's how I wake up. Well, I like to wake up really early because I feel like if I don't wake up early, I am wasting my day. So I like to wake up really, really early so I can get stuff done in the morning and then take a nap at like noon. But daylight savings time is really screwing that up for me because now the sun doesn't start shining in my room until a whole hour later. So I'm gonna have to like set alarms for things now because the sun won't naturally wake me up at 6 a.m. It's honestly really frustrating, and I've been doing like a lot of research into it, and apparently we don't need daylight savings time. Like, there's no point in doing it because you jump ahead an hour in the spring and then you just take the hour back in the fall. So really, if you just didn't switch it, it would be the exact same. Like, it would just be the same all the time. So daylight savings time doesn't really make sense to me. If you're watching this and you like understand why we use daylight savings time or like how it works, or, like if it actually means anything, please let me know. Because to me it seems like really, really pointless to do it. And it's really just messing up my sleep schedule, honestly. Like I'm still feeling that loss of sleep like 2 nights ago. And it was only an hour. And I hate the sun not coming in my windows until an hour later because it means I'm actually going to have to set an alarm. And back to the build, you can see that right now I'm just trying to like put in some clutter items. I didn't want this house to be overly cluttered because he is like a bachelor sim. Like he lives here alone, and I don't think he really wants to have kids. I think he is partying, living his life. He's having poker night with his friends, stuff like that. Like he's not the kind of sim that like wants to like settle down and get married and have kids. He is very much like a 70s disco king. In here, I was making like a little laundry room, and I kind of made it like a laundry room slash study room. I don't know how many people actually have those in their house, but when I was growing up, our house always had like a rompus room in it. Like it was the laundry room, but it was also like where you put all the extra stuff that you didn't really have a place for, if you know what I mean. Like that, all the stuff that like needed a room but didn't have a room, so like your treadmill would go in there. And in here, I actually turned his into like a laundry room slash office. Speaking of laundry stuff, one thing that super bothered me about the laundry day stuff pack is that we only got one variation of the washer and dryer. Like, I don't know that many people who actually have that washer and dryer. And in a build like this, I would really love to see some older style washer and dryers. Like the washer and dryer I have in my house are still like top loading, the white ones, like the plain white top loading washer and dryers that I feel like everybody had for the longest time. And like those front loading with like the glass in the front, I feel like are relatively new. Like I feel like I didn't start seeing those around until like the middle of my life. So I don't know. Like I really just wish that we had gotten more than one swatch about the washer and like more than one type of washer and dryer in a pack that was dedicated to laundry. Also, going back to that, I know it's been a really long time, but I am still like really ticked off that we got to vote on a pack and we could have had so many cool things in that pack and people voted for laundry. Like even in the like name of eco living, which is what we ended up being on, there were so many cool ideas and I personally really wanted off the grid because I feel like it could be really cool to like put your Sims alone on the island in Windenburg and like delete all the houses from the island and pick one lot and then do kind of like trapped on the island challenge but like with the off the grid stuff so they could like build solar panels and like use their wind turbines and like make them live on a farm. And personally, I think that would be really, really, really cool. But for some reason, the Sims community wanted laundry. And like, I don't really understand because like the last thing I want to do in my Sims game is more chores. I only really bought the pack because it had some really, really nice decorative items. But you know what pack I will not be buying? I will not be buying my first pet stuff pack. And it's actually the first pack that the Sims team has released that I won't be buying. I have every other expansion pack for all the other Sims games, every expansion pack for Sims 4. But the thing is like nothing about that pack excites me. So like in my gameplay, I really don't like to dress the dogs all that much. Like I feel like the clothes kind of like glitch through them and add like a really unnecessary effect. And in real life, it's really unrealistic to like dress your dogs like that. Like the only time I think people actually like dress their animals and like do stuff like that is like for Halloween. Or like if you have a hairless cat and they need like a sweater to go outside. You know what I mean? Like to me, like the pack is just not worth it. All of the items look like a lot of stuff that we already got in pets or we got in like the kids room stuff pack or the toddlers room stuff pack. And I just don't feel like we really need any more kids stuff in our game. And I really, really don't feel like we need the pets for the animals. Like it's a cute idea, but I feel like it was just added on extra. I and we didn't get as much stuff in that stuff pack as we did in other stuff packs. Like the laundry day stuff pack had tons of items, and this stuff pack just seems really like lackluster to me and really like rushed. And I really wish we could have seen like a more fledged out game pack with small pets. And maybe they could have added like a pet shop career. So you could have run a pet shop and it would have came with like reptiles and like all different kinds, like snakes and turtles and frogs and maybe even like birds. And then we could have gotten like the hamsters and stuff that we got. And then you could have like gotten the option to like run a pet store. Like if that would have come out as a game pack, I would have been 100% for it. But just putting in like those few animals in that one stuff pack to me seems really rushed and it kind of just seems like a money grab, honestly. It also makes me mad that the cages for all of the animals are like exactly the same on the inside because all of the pets that we get have different like needs and different things that they would want inside their cages. So the fact that it's the same cage on the inside pretty much and just like basic swatch changes, like it just really doesn't appeal to me. The only reason I would even consider buying the My First Pet game stuff pack is because I really want that new death where they literally get rabies. And it's not called rabies, but like the death animation, they literally like foam at the mouth and like die. And I think that's really funny. But it's not worth $10. You know what I mean? Like one new death isn't worth $10, even though I do think we need more deaths in the game. Another note. This is gonna sound really, really dark, but I really wish that kids could die in The Sims 4. And like, I know that sounds horrible, and it's like, why do you want to kill off children? But like, I really just hate the fact that like the game is targeted towards such a young audience. Because I think it would be so cool to play with some like really dark and deep storylines and like have your children pass away and like have your sim family go through mourning. And I wish too that when they had introduced hospitals in the game that they would have done more with the illnesses because the way that they introduced the illnesses just made them kind of annoying, honestly. Like they make your Sims uncomfortable and so they can't get anything done, but other than being uncomfortable, there are no adverse side effects to the illnesses that happen. Like I wish we could have seen illnesses that your Sims like actually die from. You know what I mean? And I wish your Sims would have to like visit the hospital and get treated, and some illnesses would take multiple treatings and stuff like that. Like I just really feel like they had a missed opportunity with that and they didn't really like do it justice. I would love to see, and I bet someone in the modding community has done it, like an extended illness, like a terminal illness, where like you'd have to visit the hospital and you have to visit it more than once, and like sometimes it could get better and sometimes it couldn't, you know what I mean? I just feel like stuff like that could really add to people's gameplay more than a lot of the packs we're currently getting. But I do really appreciate the Sims team and like everything they do, and they're so active on Twitter and like listening to people. I just feel like a lot of times they're just throwing like really frivolous stuff into the games, you know what I mean? Like they're not giving us things that really alter the game all that much. Like it's adding to the game, but I want to see things that completely alter the way that your Sims life goes, you know what I mean? And I think the closest game expansion pack that we've gotten to that has been Pets because Pets add a new family member, but I'm really holding out for seasons, and I hate to be that person, but like the game feels so fake and so like it doesn't feel like a real world to me without the seasons. Like it's always sunny. And yeah, there are times when I love having a sunny day with my Sims and they all go like play on the slip and slide and go swimming and have a barbecue. But it's like you don't get that experience of a rainy day or a snowy day and having them like light a fire and drink hot cocoa and watch movies together. Like I feel like having different weather, even just weather, like it doesn't even have to be anything, like even having different weather would so like improve the storytelling ability of The Sims 4 by so much because there are days that you want to do certain things and when it's always sunny, I always end up having my Sims do the exact same thing because that's what you do when it's sunny outside. Right now, instead of making another guest bedroom, I'm actually turning this into a poker room because I really imagine the Sim living here having poker parties and I don't know why. I think it's because I heard Simlessy talking about it in her video that I was watching earlier. But the idea of having this Sim like have his friends over and they like have poker parties and like drink from the Globe bar and like just do dumb stuff like really makes me happy for some reason. Um, I also just put in there that like trophy case from bowling stuff because I think that he definitely bowls. Like he is a bowler, you know what I mean? And right now I'm just fixing up the lighting because for some reason it got really dark in that hallway and I'm not sure why. You know another thing that bothers me in The Sims 4? I don't like that we can't adjust the lighting in build mode. Like you know when you go into live mode and you can like click on it and like dim the lights and like change the colors? I really feel like we should be able to do that in build mode because there's like you have to keep switching back and forth between live mode and build mode. And if you could do it in build mode, you could do some really interesting things with like the lighting of the house and like the colors. And one of my biggest pet peeves is when you're lighting a house and like one of the lights gives off like a yellow glow and one of the lights gives off like that clear bluish glow, and then you have to like go to the play and switch all the lights. But if you're not actually playing with the family, like if you're just in managed worlds buildings, there's no good way to do that. And I really, really, really think that we should be able to change like those light settings in build mode so we don't have to keep switching back and forth. Also, the number one thing that I want to see in Sims games more than anything else, more than seasons, more than I wanted toddlers or pools or pets and all that stuff that everybody wants, I don't understand why there's no way to make your in-game screenshots or to make your screenshots in-game pictures. Like when the Sims team made the cameras available for free to all players, they should have made an ability where you can go into that screenshot manager and click a button and it turns into an in-game picture. Because so bad with my families that I play do I want to hang a family portrait. And you can't get a good family portrait because one person always has to be out of the picture taking the picture. A lot of times I end up like adding extra Sims to my game, like another Sim to my household and making them like the photographer. But it would be so much easier and so much easier to like pose and stuff if I could just go into the screenshot manager and make one of my screenshots into an in-game photo. Like I really don't think it would be that hard. It would be the same kind of mechanic as using the in-game camera. Or even if there was a button we could push and we could use like the in-game camera like the same way that it works, like it would pull up the same UI, but we could control it without having a sim do it. Like the thing that bothers me is that I can't get a picture of all of my sims at once. And you can't even really get a good group shot because in group pictures, you can only take pictures of two sims at a time. Like that makes no sense to me. When you call it a group picture, I want to be able to take pictures of my whole families. Every time I have like a Sims wedding and stuff, I want to take wedding pictures and I want to be able to have them in game. Or I want to take pictures of the family together and their matching outfits and put it in game. But I can't because one person always has to be missing taking the picture. And it honestly gets really, really frustrating. Like, that is the number one thing that I want to see in the Sims game. Like, someone please call the Sim Gurus and get on it. Right now in the build, I'm just adding in like a little like feature wall. I really love that wallpaper. I feel like it's so 70s. And I put in the lamp from Bowling Stuff and just a little like coffee table. So then when you walk in, it's not just like a boring white wall. And I'm about done with the quick part of this build. So now I'm just going to get into like the like tab mode walkthrough tour. So I think that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to listen to me rant some more, push subscribe and maybe I'll make some more videos. And leave a comment down below. Talk to me. I would love to keep doing this, and if people are enjoying it, I'd like to know. So leave me a like, let me know, subscribe, tell me how you feel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.